Oh, can Mumbai keep out-batting their oppositions? Can they give their weak bowling attack enough runs to play with? Well, we made 182 sound like a good score at halftime on Visit Saudi presents ESPNcricinfo T20 Timeout, but by blowing the Super Giants away for 101, Mumbai's bowlers have orchestrated a convincing win and commanded a spot in the second qualifier. Akash Madhwal, a 5-wicket haul, his first fifer in T20 cricket, the best figures in this year's IPL. Gave us plenty to talk about on our post-match show with Sanjay Manjrekar and Tom Moody. We thought it would be a close game. It was brewing to be a close game. It's fair to say, Sanjay, it's a team game, but one bowler has single-handedly impacted the fate of this game.
Absolutely, and wickets coming at a crucial stage. Puran's wicket was important, got rid of Badoni as well. Before that, he was economical, troubling batters as well. So, yes, one guy who made that job of Mumbai Indians very easy indeed. I thought it would be a tight game, but thanks to Madhwal, the game is finished early. Phenomenal spell.
You almost sensed that while there are many ebbs and flows in these close playoff games, and Lucknow have a deep batting, the wicket of Puran effectively dealt a knockout blow, which even the Super Giants seem to have felt, Tom.
Yeah, I think it was not only the wicket of Puran. I just sensed that the Super Giants imploded with just the pressure of the occasion, knowing that this was, do or die match. We're either moving forward in the playoffs or we're not. And to me, they didn't have the composure of a team like Mumbai Indians that have been around the block many, many times and been in this position before. Not all of the players, certainly not Madhwal, but many experienced players out on that field, and it nearly felt like it was boys against men in many cases. And I sense that also in the first innings when Mumbai were batting. It was nearly like they announced themselves in the contest and said, right, we're taking you on here. And they did get, I thought, a total that was above par. And they were just blown away when they had their chance to chase it.
Okay, I'd like to go deeper into that in a moment, but I guess let's just get a little chat of Madhwal out of the way first, and that's an excellent double strike. Ayush Badoni and then Puran, and there was a build-up to that as well, Sanjay, wasn't there, which you found so impressive.
Yes, and it's something that shouldn't surprise too many people as to what he's done, because he was slowly getting there. Every time he's bowled this season, you could see there's something about Madhwal. Caught everyone's eye in that game at Wankhede against the RCB, and strong batting lineup, and there were set batters batting. And he bowled the 20th over when there were some big overs before that, the 18th and 19th, and he conceded just 6. And I think RCB ended up getting 199, which was easy to chase for Mumbai Indians. That again was an important contribution. And what he has is a very rare gift that all owners are seeking: a reliable death overs bowler. And what he does is just comes in, runs quickly and low release point, and bowls it quick in the air, skids off the pitch. And he's one of those guys who can nail the Yorkers. He'll bowl 4 or 5 perfect Yorkers out of 6. So those kind of bowlers are just gold dust.
Yeah, which we've seen before. At times Mumbai have used him specifically for that death overs role, like Chennai used Pathirana, Tom. But on a surface at a ground where we believe taking pace off works, when Naveen ul Haq has shown that and other bowlers have shown that Madhwal has got the wickets the way he has. None of that looked like variation. So what he got that the batters couldn't figure out?
Well, I think the pace that Sanjay's talking about, and I think just the fact that he didn't provide any width, so he's always attacking the stumps. And that in itself is pressure, particularly if you're not familiar with the bowler and you haven't faced the bowler much, and you're a little bit surprised with the pace that he's gathering off the surface. And he seems to be one of those bowlers that just doesn't bounce. He sort of hits the pitch and skids into the roll of your pad or the sort of top 2/3 of the stumps, not the top of the stumps. So yeah, look, he's certainly a nice surprise packet and a real bonus for Mumbai Indians, because he's filling a huge void that they had very comfortably. So it'll be interesting to see how he travels over time, because people are going to, after seeing him for a while, will see what he has to offer, and then he'll be challenged, I'm sure.
I'm just thinking, as a batter, you saw the problem that Ayush Badoni had against him. Couple of balls in the channel, he doesn't pitch it right up. It's just about good length. The ball is not bouncing too high for you to play these kind of shots. So what are the options for a batter? Is that he's going to be consistently there, and you know it. He doesn't do too many variations. So the shots could be just, hitting one over the bowler or chipping over extra cover. And not too many batters actually play that kind of a shot. A lot of modern day batters are waiting for that variation ball, a bouncer to play the ram shot. So this is a guy who keeps it on good lengths. The ball skids through, so it's difficult to get under it. And Badunu in the end was trying to do something, fancy to just get away from Madhwal, try to play the pull shot.
Well, it was a slog, wasn't it, really?
Yeah.
It was...
So, and the ball was at that exact height, crashed into the stump. When you look at Puran's dismissal, that is where you see subtle skills from Madhwal, where there is a bit of this when he bowls the ball to Puran. So it's pitch shot,
this being?
as in a slight off cutter. It's not like a proper slow ball off cutter. The hands go like this, where the ball pitches and
does something.
Yeah, there's that extra bounce and that movement. Why did Puran get out? Because there was a little bit of movement after the ball pitched. So he's a guy, as Tom said, maybe with the new ball might be easier to play, but ideal to get wickets in the middle. And if you've got 2 overs of Madhwal in the death, it will be part of planning for all batting side that you've got to be wary of Madhwal's 2 overs in the death.
That's nice, isn't it? Where we say this normally for the Bumrahs of the world and the Starks, and at times the Archers at their best, but we're saying beware of Madhwal at the death. So Puran's got a really good one here, because we've not seen seam movement at the Chepauk, have we?
No, but we did see Naveen, though, because he does bowl wide of the crease. He also did the same thing with a leg cutter. It's not a full leg cutter, but just a slightly, off-seam leg cutter, and with the angle, get the ball to straighten to the right-hander. So there was a little bit there for those little subtle changes of not a change of pace, but just, using the seam and being creative that way. So, for those that were exploring and have got that skill, there certainly was something there.
All right. Well, trying to understand what Mumbai Indians were thinking when they didn't bowl him in their first 8 games. Well, they went around with quite a few options, but he's here to stay now, you think? Whether they go further than the next qualifier, but even next season, Madhwal's a lock-in?
Yeah, when you see certain bowlers, they've done a lot of bowling over the years, maybe not in the spotlight. And a lot of these kind of bowlers, like a Bumrah, when he came in and started bowling for Mumbai Indians, it seemed like he had bowled a lot before he came and performed on the big stage. With that kind of an action, to have that control, you've got to have had bowled 1 million overs. I see that with Naveen-ul Haq, same kind of background. I'm betting on the fact that Madhwal also would have had a lot of tennis ball, softball, cricket that he would have played growing up. So these guys are very good at surviving in adverse conditions as bowlers, because they've done it 1 million times before.
All right, well done. Akash Madhwal, 5 wicket haul, best figures in this year's tournament, first 5 for the Uttarakhand Seamer, and a result of Mumbai's fine scouting again. He wasn't picked up at this particular auction, but at the last one. He's on that base price of 20 lakhs, and he seems more than value. Right, let's go to the point Tom Moody raised on what it seemed like Lucknow Super Giants as a team were like today. Now, if you view that chase, Stoinis, would you ever say they had it under control at any point with Stoinis and Krunal Pandya? They're missing their main captain in KL Rahul. Was his presence perhaps a big difference today? And we're now, I'm just trying to get confirmation, wondering whether Quinton de Kock's absence from this game was an injury call or a selection call with Kyle Mayers at the top.
Well, my initial observation with them being, sort of imploding is based around the fact that, yes, it appeared that they had some sort of control of this chase with Stoinis there and Pandya at the crease. But then when you see the motor dismissals from that point, and 3 run-outs included in those motor dismissals, to me that is an implosion. That is complete losing your mind and losing control. And that's where you sort of see the separation of a team that is in total control, calm, under pressure in a big moment, where a team that's just, struggling to find their feet in a contest that they're certainly nowhere near.
And
Sanjay.
you also got the impression that they were trying to do too much in the first 6 overs when they were bowling, with the premeditated, mind that this is going to be a rank turner, and let's get our spinners in early against the hard-hitting Rohit Sharma, Ishan Kishan, and later Cameron Green. They bowled 4 overs of spin out of the 6 overs that were bowled, and it turned out to be a belter. At least for the first 10 over, the pitch was not turning. The ball was coming on beautifully, and Mumbai Indians cashed in. Even with the way they opened their batting, you got the impression the discussion would have been to go hard in the first 6, but they lost 2 wickets, early wickets, and then, of course, Stoinis provided that hope, but they were missing Quinton de Kock. They needed 3 of those kind because Huda is out of form. Badoni is a young guy coming through, Prerak Mankat. Kyle Mayer is not quite the Quinton de Kock on a big stage.
Let me just set it up for you. They weren't missing him because of ill fortune. Krunal Pandya's comments at the end of the game says it was always a tough decision. It's just that Kyle had a better record here at the Chepauk than de Kock, so we just felt we could go with Kyle, and I thought we could do something different. So this is a selection call based on what seems to be Kyle Mayers' record at the ground. Give me your reaction to that, Tom. Moody, it's all yours.
Well, that does surprise me because you know the point that I've been making around them imploding. You know, you need experience, and Quinton de Kock has got more experience than anyone in that Super Giants team, and he's sitting in the dressing room. Big game, big player. You know, and regardless of what someone's done short term in Chennai, I'd rather look at the sample size of 10 years and what he has done in international cricket and what he has done in IPL cricket against the opponent that he's playing.
A familiar opponent.
So I just find that baffling, that decision, and ultimately extremely costly, because that calm mind out the middle would have been welcomed. Plus also, Nicholas Pooran behind the stumps was sloppy. There was a number of byes that he let through. You know, Quinton de Kock is a far more adequate, accomplished is the word I'm looking for, keeper than Pooran, who's been fielding for the whole tournament.
Sanjay, your reaction?
I'm glad Tom reacted first after hearing that post-match interview. I get a little frustrated when the controllables are not controlled properly. I mean, these are off-field tactics, and to drop Quinton de Kock just because Kyle Mayers has got runs on this kind of a pitch on this ground before. I mean, we are talking about Kyle Mayers versus Quinton de Kock, and Kyle Mayers started fading away with form, and Quinton de Kock came in, and the first game he showed in his class against, I think, Rajasthan Royals, when
70 or 40.
Yeah, I mean, it's just hard to understand. And to put it mildly, it was a mistake and a costly one.
All right. Did they have other elements of their batting that could have still salvaged this game? So the partnership with Krunal Pandya, just the Pandya wicket, because it looked like Mumbai were under pressure. Their spinners were taken down. Ritik Shaukin looked like he was under severe pressure, and they were not going to be short of 8 overs of spin. So the wicket of Pandya, of Piyush Chawla after the timeout, was a big moment. What happened there? Credit to the bowler or a batter who...
Yeah, credit to the bowler. I thought Piyush Chawla didn't have one of his best nights, but he was willing to bowl the ball in the right areas to the guys who were not big hitters. Every time Stoinis came in, you could see that he was getting flatter and shorter, and that's why Noor Ahmed, I love Noor Ahmed. No matter who's batting at the opposite end and what kind of power he has, he still tosses the ball up and puts it in the slot and gets wickets like he does, like Shivam Dubey's wicket. So, yes, that was about Krunal Pandya trying to extract power and not able to keep his shape and mistiming it. But when you look at the overall batting lineup with Quinton de Kock missing, a lot hinged. I mean, we were seeing in the mid-innings show as well. It was not a huge score. The pitch actually played a lot better. But when you looked at the batting lineup, you were thinking, oh, Quinton de Kock missing. That makes it a little difficult to chase. We knew Kyle Mayers was going to be the man, but Stoinis, Pooran on a pitch like this, without Quinton de Kock, it was always going to be a Mumbai Indians game.
I've just had the liberty of quickly going to our ESPNcricinfo and seeing Quinton de Kock's record at Chennai to see what the case was. Well, if 74 runs in 7 innings at an average of 10.5, and this is in 7 matches. This is a period of 8 years, 2013 to 2021. Now, if someone presented that data to you, where the analyst, de Kock's got a terrible record here, and we've got Mayers who's got runs, does it seem like such a bad call still?
Yeah, it does, absolutely.
Yeah, it does.
Just making sure.
Yeah, this is a final. We're talking about a world-class player, and this is nothing against Kyle Mayers. He's a very fine player in his own right, but Quinton de Kock is, far more advanced as a cricketer. And experienced, and when you do look down their list of batters, with his absence, it does look very vulnerable.
Yeah.
And Quinton de Kock has got presence. He's been there, done it before. He's got the T-shirt.
Yeah, especially at Chepauk, where, as we keep using the word tacky on the surface, you need people with some experience, more depth. I keep saying depth as a batter, and Quinton de Kock has it. As far as data is concerned, we'll dig out data of guys who have played a brilliant innings, 100, and had 8 or 9 innings before on that same ground where they've averaged 10. So, I mean, it's a bizarre call. And just imagine you giving that data to somebody like a Mahendra Singh Dhoni. Data says,
Devin Conway doesn't have a good record here.
Yeah.
But just the thing is that data is important if Chennai are looking to potentially recruit Quinton de Kock in 2 years' time, because then they'll look at his record at home, at their own home, and think, oh, he's actually struggled on our surfaces. Maybe we're better off looking at another wicketkeeper batsman. That's when it's valuable. Yeah. But when we're talking about one-off final, come on, really?
I mean, you'd also assume that record is essentially against the Super Kings more than at the ground in the IPL. You would think that that's a record against the Super Kings. We have to break it down for other things. But anyway, panel's pretty clear on where they stand on their selection call now of Kyle Mayers playing ahead of Quinton de Kock. The Marcus Stoinis run out. How much did that possibly change things? Could Stoinis have still engineered an onslaught on his own with the help of Deepak Hooda and some of the others? So is that run out just a piece of ill fortune in the middle? Is it again avoidable? Because it looked like Deepak Hooda's stay there, Tom, was brimmed with ill fortune. 3 run-outs, 1 eventually for himself.
Yeah, look, that's the implosion part that I referred to. And Stoinis, when Stoinis is still at the crease, he's still in the game. We only saw just recently him score a brilliant 80.
Against this team, yes.
And hit 8 sixes, I think, in that inning. So this is a surface that he could have easily done the same thing. Yeah. So that was pivotal. That was a critical moment. Form player, recently, did it against this opponent, and they would be worried till the end if he's still out there.
Yep.
Quick comment also on another matter is about teams. We've seen the second time selections that you can't understand. Come the playoffs, come the big pressure nights, knockout games, something that afflicts, I think, few team management. I mean, this is almost bizarre to leave out Quinton de Kock, and earlier Titans having, Josh Little not playing and Dasu Shanaka coming in. And champion teams are also teams who don't do anything different come the playoffs. Mahendra Singh Dhoni is a master of that. Just plays exactly the same way come the crunch game. Have these two teams made that kind of mistake with selections, with off-field tactics, just because now this is a game slightly different from all the league matches that they play?
When you batted and all the time you batted, have you ever had that kind of collision with your partner which is affected in a run out like that? Can you?
I used to get myself run out pretty cleanly. It was a very clean process.
I see. All right. Well, okay, fair enough. But the Mumbai Indians have now gone to the second qualifier. I can't believe I'm saying the words, because if you look at any of our coverage after the first few games of the Mumbai Indians, it was all about this being a long season for them and their bowlers. Who are they going to get to bowl at the death? Who are they going to get to bowl 20 overs at times? And it seems to have all come together. The point you make, Tom, I wonder if it's suddenly, it doesn't take much for it to come back. The intimidation that the Mumbai Indians hold in the knockouts, and perhaps the league has allowed them to somehow be dangerous again, given that 4th spot could easily have been claimed by either Rajasthan Royals or an RCB and whatnot. Now you get Mumbai Indians, and you could sense an intimidation factor from the opposition today?
Without a doubt. And I don't think it's a case of the league allowing Mumbai Indians. I think it's Mumbai Indians doing the hard work behind the scenes. I mentioned the other night about Chennai Super Kings and about a high performance environment. And this is another high performance environment. They tick every single box. They invest enormously in their scouting. They invest enormously in their purchases of highly talented players, whether it be Jofra Archer, who hasn't come off this year, that aside, but Cameron Green, these type of players, they are very thorough and they don't leave a stone unturned. So there's no coincidence that, that they get the breaks that they may need to, find themselves into the finals. And people think, oh, they're lucky, but that's not luck. That's hard work, and that's a very thorough machine that is operating an elite sporting body.
In fairness, though, Tom, we've been critical of their auctions in the last 2 years, paying too much for Ishan Kishan, paying for Jofra Archer, knowing he wasn't going to play, not finding a bowler at the last auction, which seemed to trouble them. So, does it all seem like it's all right now, or are those still errors, and somehow they've managed to win with those errors happening?
It depends if you consider them errors or just. I don't think you can call them errors, but they're observations of whether it be us or other people that are making you think, oh wow, I wouldn't have paid that much for Ishan Kishan. That's really throwing the balance of their purse, when it comes to picking up domestic players. But they clearly have got a big picture in mind, and that big picture is, Ishan Kishan being very much part of, their team and their success going forward. He's young. He's a multi-skilled player. Jofra Archer is a rare talent. Hasn't quite worked out that particular strategy at the auction yet, but the Cameron Green example this year has paid off in spades. That's Cameron Green's one of the reasons they're playing in the finals.
I have a slightly different view. I think they made mistakes, putting in so much for Ishan Kishan, Jofra Archer, and Jofra Archer wasn't even going to be playing that season. The players that they had to let go is the big story, and that is why suddenly Mumbai Indians didn't look the kind of team, because the Quinton de Kock came in and went, Rahul Char came in and went, and a lot of their
Hardik Pandya, Trent Bolt,
integral part of their success, they were let go because they were going to invest big time into Jofra Archer. Now clearly you see that he is a dangerous investment because of his record of history of injuries. And Ishan Kishan is still not Surya Kumar Yadav, who's consistent, been there, done that. He's shown spark, he's shown potential, but whether he's that kind of a player to invest long term, and the jury is still out. So I would be a little cautious spending so much money. What they need to do is actually felicitate the talent hunters, because those are the guys that have made Mumbai Indians the team that they are tonight. Akash Madhwal, Vadera, Tilak Verma and Vishnu Vino, these are the guys who have come together. I still feel at this stage, the one little vulnerability that they have is in the spin department. I thought Piyush Chawla felt the pressure of the night today, didn't bowl well to the big boys. And Kumar Karthike and Ritik Shaukin, a couple of other guys that maybe spin quality could be improved by just working on those guys a little bit before the big games.
Yes, Tom?
I was just going to say, that's where they probably have over-invested in emerging talent in their overseas pool, where there's a couple of players there that, even if you took one of them away, Janssen, if you took him out of, you could then add a quality overseas spinner, and they would have picked up that overseas spinner at base price. Someone like Mujib, for instance, if you had him at your disposal, when the circumstances arise, conditions arise, opposition.
They could have got Zampa, like you've mentioned. They could have got Rashid.
It would have been a great sort of balance for their side.
Well, it's amazing that in spite of these fair criticisms, that Mumbai Indians have marched on to the second qualifier. They are one of 3 teams alive now in the tournament, and that is it for the Lucknow Super Giants. Let's have a quick word on them before we wrap things up. Season review for the Super Giants. KL Rahul is a conversation that they did so well without him, but did they miss him in a big game like this? And of course, we can't get over the Quinton de Kock non-selection today, but how do you review their season?
KL Rahul is somebody we've seen in the IPL forever, and he plays well, but his team doesn't do well. So I don't think that was a massive setback when you look at his contribution to a team becoming champions. They're big. They've got to be applauded for the fact that they played on a pitch which was completely unsuitable to the batting lineup, which relied so heavily on Kyle Mayers, Quinton de Kock, Nicholas Puranan, and Stoinis. Despite that, they made the playoff. So well done for winning the away games. But when you rely on foreign batters, and you get a pitch like Chepauk, and you'll get in the IPL, they need to find at least a couple of big game changers with the bat, and not have the fulcrum of their batting being foreign players, batters rather.
Yeah, I think KL Rahul is a massive miss for them. This is the second time they've reached playoffs for a new team in the IPL, so that in itself is a great achievement for the franchise.
Yeah.
we can't, ignore that. And I think even though at the point that KL Rahul injured himself, you can just about guarantee that he would have scored 3, if not more, half centuries in the rest of the games, and that was missing from their top
order. A player like him today, he's got an excellent record against Mumbai Indians as well.
You add that name to that batting list, it's a different story. It's a bit like when you add Quinton de Kock to that batting list. It's a completely different look and feel to that team. So I felt that he was a big loss just around the stability that he provides as a top order player. Yes, there's times that he is criticised for not striking at the rate that we all feel he should, but there's other times that he does. But it's the volume of runs that was missing, and at times you're digging around to find those runs, and they couldn't find those runs, unfortunately, when he went missing.
All right, but Pooran's success, you think?
Yeah, he's a match winner, isn't he? And he did very much that. He's not going to be consistent, and that's the way he plays. He's a bit like Maxwell. He's going to have those moments where he's going to startle you with an incredible performance and win matches for you, which he's done. He did it in Hyderabad and he did it in Bangalore. There's 2 that spring to mind. So yes, he's a good get. At the price they paid, you could debate that, but certainly, that's what you want from your overseas players, not to just contribute, they've got to be match winners.
So what they're missing for you is essentially just more quality in Indian batting. Yeah, like their bowling though, Yash Thakur seems to be a good find for them. Mohsin came back and we saw shades of the best of Mohsin Khan.
Yes, and I think Naveen ul Haq is a good guy to have on Indian pitches. As I said, too much reliance on foreign batters is never a good idea. So a couple of maybe consistent, typical T20 Indian batters would do them good.
All right, well, that's pretty much it. Twice making the playoffs, so well done to them. But they'll be thinking twice eliminated in the Eliminator as well, the Lucknow Super Giants. So Mumbai Indians move forward. Gujarat Titans against Mumbai Indians now is qualifier number 2. We'll have Tom Moody and Sanjay Manjrekar on Friday to give us their thoughts on that. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure getting their time and their thoughts, and I'll need them just for 2 more days. So we look forward to your company on Friday evening on Visit Saudi Presents ESPNcricinfo T20 Time Out. I'm sure there will be a lot said and written about Quinton de Kock's absence from this team after Krunal Pandya's post-match comments. So check out the ESPNcricinfo mobile app. We'll have you covered as always. Chepauk bids farewell to IPL 2023. We now move to Ahmedabad, where we await qualifier 2 and the final. So we'll see you on Friday. Good night.